Daniel Haqiqatjou had a recent debate
Yes,
with
he did.
yeah
Inspired philosophy. So there's some Christian apologists.
So there are clips out of this debate that has been, one of them has been selected for us by the Apostate Prophet, which I'm about to show you. So this has been going viral. A lot of people are talking about this. You've seen this clip?
I think I know which one you're talking about. I think
This is
poor Haqiqatjou.
insane.
This is what should have happened to him a long time ago. Now, forget about him. Forget about anything else. Any other points that he wants to score. It's always going to be known as him being a P apologist. P. That's what he's doing, and that's what this video is all. Wherever you go, you're always going to be asked these questions. You can't expect to live in this day and age to have these kind of views, and just because you secure some 10,000 followers or 20,000 followers who think, yeah, Haqiqatjou made a really good point, and then you become more and more brazen. And that's exactly what's happened. As his platform gets bigger and bigger, he's saying this to more and more audience. And of course, it's going to attract some heat. At some point, it's going to end badly for him. So anyway, let's have a...
So the title is shocking. Muslim preacher says 4-year-old girl can be married and sexually used. So that's the title that Apostate Prophet has given us. We'll watch it and decide whether that's accurate or not. But what you're saying, Harris, is pretty accurate. So the good thing about Daniel is that he has taken this brand that he's not going to apologize for Islam. He's not going to hide it. He's going to be completely honest and stop acting like all these passive Muslims who are bending a knee to modernity and not really fighting for Islamic values. And this is exactly what we want. We need people like Daniel Haqiqatjou out there. I hope he keeps growing. People don't believe us because we're ex-Muslims and we have something against Islam. And a lot of Muslims are clever enough to know certain Islamic values are just not accepted in modern society. But given how open and transparent Daniel Haqiqatjou is about Islamic values, we need him to go out there so we could show exactly what Islamic values are. And so he's in our camp, right? So like he's doing our work for us.
Much better than us.
Much better than us. Yeah.
Like we have... Because I believe one day a lot of these Muslims who are there's young Muslim men who listen to him. I think this is a phase. I think every person goes through an extremist phase, whatever phase that might be. There's an extremist phase where they're just angry at the world. They're trying to make sense out of things, and usually nostalgic things or things that are not in your life, but you look back at those things, people romanticize them. So this is why a lot of this Muslim diaspora that grows up in the West, they listen to him and they think that they look around people, they feel like left out. And then they look at people like Haqiqatjou who comes out with these ideas and say, yeah, you know what, Muslim Islamic society would have been perfect for you. And then they start romanticizing. That's just a phase, I think. And eventually they're going to wake up from it and then they're going to go, oh my God, what did I believe in? And this is what, I think that video should wake up a lot of those people.
Before I start playing, I want you to notice, look at the picture, look at the screen that we're on, okay?
Yeah.
And I want you to see if you notice some irony in this whole thing. Do you detect some irony in the picture that we're watching?
No. Wow, what is it?
The logo on his laptop. Do you know what that logo is?
No. Oh,
it's the
Predator.
Predator.
Oh my God.
The guy is explaining why it's okay to have relationships with 4-year-olds, and it says right on his laptop, it says Predator. That's not like an attack on Daniel. That just happens to be circumstantial.
It's ironic.
It's just ironic. Go, let's play.
When there are signs of physical maturity, it becomes permissible for the husband in Islamic law to have marital relationships or consummate the relation with his bride. And this is the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Do you know what precocious puberty is?
Starting puberty unusually.
So this, Harris, based on your understanding of Islam, is this what Islam teaches? Like as soon as it's not a specific age, okay? It's basically seeing signs of maturity, seeing signs, basically you getting your period. That means you have the green light to have sexual relationships with somebody. Is that your understanding of Islamic teaching? Because that's what Daniel is saying.
Yes. The problem here is that he had to refine it even more. Under the traditional understanding of Islam, if we go follow the Aisha's age, They go, oh, it's just having period. That shows that the girl is ready. And so many other cultures have shown that too. But we know that is not the only marker to say that someone is grown up. So I think he refined it. And that's why he said if it shows signs of maturity, i.e., period, then he goes by that. So it's okay. So then he goes into it. And then obviously this guy read into it and he goes, okay, if that is the qualifier, then we can go and then we can.
We haven't got to that part yet. But so basically this, you could show signs of puberty at age 18 or 16 or 14 or 12 or even 9. And they said, yeah, whatever, whenever you see it, that's when it's okay. That's what the understanding is. That's what, even if it's 9 years old, which is actually weird because I remember a Quranic verse that's specifically telling you how to behave with regards to the wives that you're divorcing. And it categorizes in the two parts into wives that have gotten their periods and wives that haven't gotten their periods. Do you know which Quranic verse that was?
Yeah, it's Quran 65 verse 4.
Here, there we go. So it says, and those who no longer expect menstruation among your women, if you doubt, then their period is there. If you doubt that their period is 3 months, and for those who have not menstruated, this is basically the wives that you have that haven't yet menstruated. The Quran is specifically referring to wives that haven't yet menstruated, which is this contradicts what Daniel is saying.
Muhammad Hijab even explains this verse. So let me show this to you.
Just at the Quran, you will get the indication that you can have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. The reason why it's haram to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old is not found in the Quran at all. If you just read the Quran, it is halal. It would be halal to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old.
So that's obviously that's what he says. But the problem here is they have to defend it because of Aisha's age, and the only qualifier that they have is that she's menstruated. That's it. Otherwise, anything goes. That's the whole problem. That's why they have to keep going. And that's why it's a very clever point that the person is going to make.
With his bride. And this is the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Do you know what precocious puberty is?
Starting puberty unusually early.
Is there anything in Islam that prevents you from, a man marrying a 5-year-old that started precocious puberty?
You can arrange a marriage even as an infant, but that doesn't mean that sex is allowed.
Could a man have a marriage to a 5-year-old consummated if she started precocious puberty?
If she starts showing signs of physical maturity, then yes, that's permissible, as I
What
said.
about age 4?
Wow.
If there are signs
3.
So this is something that becomes biologically impossible because
I have a
puberty.
study.
Okay, so 3 is the line here. Because 3 is impossible, but 4 is possible. So 4 is he said yes. He specifically said yes. The answer was yes.
He was uncomfortable. You could see he was uncomfortable, but because this is the standard that he has set, that's why he can't get out of that.
Yeah, look, he said yes. He clearly said yes.
Yes, that's permissible, as I
What
said.
about age 4?
If there are signs
3.
of, so this is something that becomes biologically impossible because
It goes as early as 11 months.
that's something that the parents would not see. The thing about Islamic marriage is that parents are involved at these ages, and when you look at the marriage of the Prophet,
the parents allow it.
Yeah, so what if the parents allow it? Exactly. What if the parents allow it? Apparently it's allowed.
Liberal world cannot get in. That's his argument. Liberal world, and then he's going to tell you about all the evils of the liberal world. Oh, look at the pronouns, look at this and that. That's where he's going to go with that.
See, the problem they have with liberalism is that we have too much freedoms. And no, apparently you have too much freedoms. We have freedoms, but liberalism also includes limitations. That's the whole idea of liberalism. We provide freedom where it matters, where limitations are illogical and limits progress. But we also provide limitation. The whole idea of liberalism is freedom plus rights. Rights require limitations. We don't have maximum freedom. When liberalism defends rights of minorities, rights of women, rights of LGBT, rights of so many different groups of people, and to provide rights, you need limitations. There's no way to protect different groups of people without providing limitations in society. So this idea that liberalism wants maximum freedom is ridiculous. And one of the most important rights that liberalism defends is the rights of children against you monsters. We have limitations. Apparently, you don't have the limitations where it's needed the most.
Yeah, he's basically, his worldview is exposing literally. I can't believe that we have to even draw a comparison between a 9-year-old. It feels like it's even lower. Like 9 years old, we've been criticizing 9-year-old as a child, 9-year-old as a child. Now they're like 3-year-old. Am I even allowed to say that's even worse? No, I think they're both equally terrible. I don't want to live in that world where you have 9-year-old or even 3 or 2 or 5-year-old allowed to get engaged in an act with someone fully grown up. Like you could sense that even he is, oh boy, where's this going to end? Yeah, because if you're going to, they accuse us of having this arbitrary line. Oh, look, some countries have 16, some countries have 17, some countries have 18. Why 18? Why not 19? Because you dumb idiots, physical maturity, it's not under question after 16. Yes, 15, 14. Yeah, is it not? So it's safer to be on 16. Okay, some countries say 18. 18 is definitely, you've got no problem with that. Yeah. No, I don't think any woman keeps growing physically after 18. So that's a good line to be had, because you're not going to die. The world is not going to end if you're not marrying kids at 13, 14. And if you're marrying them after 18, that's okay. The world's not going to end. But they accuse us of this arbitrary line, but him getting sucked into this because his line is so arbitrary, like this, this precocious puberty, that could, I didn't know that, to be honest. If that can happen at 11 months old, yes, according to him, according to Prophet Muhammad, according to his understanding of Islam, yeah, that's fair, and that's terrible. These guys should be arrested. I don't know. What is your view on this? I know freedom of speech and all that, but this is, I don't know. I'm not freedom of speech on this.
I am, because I want them to expose Islam. The greatest enemy of Islam is Islam. So I want that to be clear. I want them to be free to say these things. I need these videos out there for us to go around and show people what these represent. If you silence these ideas, it grows underground and becomes. Yeah. Sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Look, fair enough. I've understood this argument and we've known this for a very long time. Yeah, we need these people to speak more. But it just sometimes feels so frustrating that people like that can just go around and spout nonsense like this. I just worry that if one child suffers because of people like him who popularize these ideas, then we failed them. That's how I feel. This is why I say, but you're right. There's no other way. If we silence people like that, these ideas are going to simmer beneath the surface, and then we won't be able to know. And then it's not only going to be one child who's going to be affected by that, it's going to be a lot more children who are going to be affected by that. So it's just a sad world.
The thing is, children are suffering right now as we speak, and not many people know about it, and they're not taking a stand against it. And because now more people know the true nature of Islam, there's more unity against Islam. It used to be that, for example, leftists and liberals didn't take much of a stance against Islam, but now that it's more apparent how disgusting and monstrous Islam is, we're seeing not voices just from the right, but also from the left standing up against it and not tolerating this, and forcing a lot more Muslims to at least bend the knee to liberal values and change their way of life. And it's because of all this pressure. So we want Daniel Haqiqatjou to come out there and more Muslims to feel like, you know what, I don't want to be associated with that. Even if they don't leave Islam, they become so disgusted by this that they want to distance themselves from these kind of viewpoints. So that's why I think we need this out there.
Daniel Haqiqatjou is becoming a poster boy for radical Islam. I had the misfortune of reading this article. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there wasn't much in there. But he basically wrote this recently and he published it. He said, why should Muslims defend slavery and minor marriage? So basically, he's just arguing. He said that people like Haqiqatjou must not take a step back, must not apologize for defending slavery. And obviously, when it's slavery, we pinch them even more with sex slavery, because that's even more disgusting. Because Islam, on the one hand, claims to be this religion, or a religion that respects women, but then on the other hand, it reduces women to sex slavery. So that, and also minor marriage, and you just saw what his views are on minor marriage. And that's why he is so insistent on unashamedly defend minor marriage, because he says that if we give way to it, if we modify, if we take a step back and say, oh yeah, look, slavery was bad, it's good riddance, Islam's eventual goal was to get rid of slavery eventually, which a lot of these modern Muslim apologists have adopted that line, that Islam gave us the kind of morality that Islam gave us, it would have ended up in abolishing slavery anyway, which is such a stupid argument that it took them freaking 1300 years and pressure from the West to abolish slavery. And also the second one is minor marriages. So we should not conform our religion to this idea, this arbitrary line of 16, 17, or 18 that has been drawn by the liberal West. We should not do that. And because if we do it, then we're going to eventually end up losing our entire religion. That's his reasoning. This is why he doesn't even feel ashamed. He proudly defends child marriage. If you put the question of sexual slavery in front of him, he would have loved it. My debate with him, the only surprise that I had was like, wow, the guy just doesn't take a step back. He just cannot see. He drew a comparison to me. He said, Harris, what would you rather be, a sex slave or have a nuclear bomb dropped on you? He went from that to comparisons, because liberal America dropped nuclear bombs in Japan, and he said, oh, what would you rather have? I was like,
how about this? How about we stand against both of them? How about we condemn both? Can we do both? I think we can do both, Harris. We can do both.
We don't have to. We can do both, but no, the people like that want to put you in a box, because that was the biggest takeaway from my debate, that I don't have to defend American foreign policy. I just don't have to. I don't care.
Yeah.
Throw America under the bus. America is not my prophet or my God, or even the American Constitution is not this book for me that I have to dogmatically follow. Yeah, even Americans don't believe that. That's why they've had so many amendments.
Yes, exactly. And you know what that's called? That's a famous logical fallacy. It's called the false dichotomy. It's called false dichotomy.
Yeah, it's a false dichotomy.
Anyways, I wish the best of luck to Daniel Haqiqatjou. Please keep going the same direction as you're going. It's working. Yeah, we're loving it.